Okay, so it is still Valentine's Day, 10:57 p.m. And I know I said the next video I would do would be an American Girl doll video. Even though I still need to do that religion thing, but whatever. Okay. I grew up with the American Girl series, which, well, for me it was mostly the books. It's an entire company. Like, you could look it up, AmericanGirl.com. They've got like the book series. They've got dolls galore. The dolls were expensive even when I was a kid, so I wasn't really into the dolls, just the books. Anyhow, so basically, they're about different girls living in different times of American history, and the year always ends in a 4. You got like 1764, 1774, 1904, 1864. Yeah, you can go on the website and look at what the books are, or even Wikipedia to get a general example. This isn't about what the books are about. So you can Google that, so I'm not going to go into that. But anyhow, so I grew up with these books. They're still bringing out new books on it. Okay, so okay, we're going to go into they have historical characters and more Girls of Today characters, which, okay, the Girls of Today are, like, each year they come out with a book about a different girl, like a fictional character, of course. And let's see, this year it's about a little Hawaiian girl and her family, and I don't know what the book's about, but I'm not into the modern ones because the modern ones came out in 2001, 2002, somewhere in 2000, somewhere in that area, which was when I had graduated high school and was way out of the demographic for it. So I grew up with the more original characters, and for me it's more of a nostalgic kind of thing because I grew up with it. So, and since I know I'm rambling here, but since I have most of the book series, I figured when I continue on with the historical characters, so I don't know, have it to pass on or something. I don't know, have no one to pass it on to, but whatever. Anyhow, so I think the first ones I read, okay, forget that. First of all, the historical characters now are, okay, I'm going to use these stickers to give an example, to show you. These are stickers of the dolls, so, there you go. First we have Kaya, or Kaya Atonmai, from 1764, and she is supposed to be a Nez Perce girl. I don't know, I'm not Indian, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like, I think it was like Nimipu or something like that, but yeah, Indian girl, or Native American I should say. And she is from 1764, and her book series was released in 2002. So, well after I had graduated high school, actually about a year after. So I only have a few random books of hers, and the next is Felicity Merriman, who is 1774 and represents colonial Williamsburg, and this series was released in 1991. So I was young enough to be in the demographic for this one, and I think this was one of the first American Girl series I read, and I love this one. And the next one would be Josefina Montoya. She represents 1824 and was released in 1997. And by then I was into Star Wars and only had a vague interest in American Girls. And when I did, it was just me going down to our basement and digging up the books I already had. So I mean, I have a few of hers, like 1824, and she represents New Mexico under Mexican rule. The next one would be Kirsten Larson. If I can get the sticker thing. This was another book I read, book series. She is a Swedish girl, an immigrant, and it's about her family's travel to Minnesota. And this book series was released in 1986. So I definitely read these. When I say they're books, each character gets 6 books with a general, like there's a a general pattern. Not every book character follows it, but for the most part, yeah. Okay, and then we have from 1864, representing the Civil War era, have Addie Walker, or a Duke, or Duke or something. And she came out in 1993, and I remember when I read her, she was new, so I read this around 93, 94. Yeah, this was the new character when I was reading them. And then we have Samantha Parkington from 1904, representing the, well, she's marketed as Victorian, but technically she's more Victorian / Edwardian. Yeah. And she was another one of my favorites because I kind of looked like her as a kid. Yeah, brown-haired kid, living with her grandmother, and who got stuck in frilly outfits from time to time. Yeah, definitely a resemblance there. Anything going on there? And the newest one right now is Rebecca Rubin, from 1914. She represents the early 20th century America during the second wave of European immigration, and she's a Jewish-Russian immigrant. And I have to put up a link. I don't know where I found it, but I got most of my information about the characters in general from an American Girl wiki, and I'll try and post a link into the information box. I do not have any of her books, as I have not been able to find them at the used bookstore just yet. Yeah, she's still new. Yeah. And then next up is 1934, Kit Kittredge, and there was indeed a movie about this. There's also movies on Samantha and Felicity. Have not seen the movie for this one, with Abigail Breslin in it. And she represents the Great Depression. I have a few of these books, and this book series came out in 2000, so like right before I graduated high school. And I think I mentioned the 1914 one came out in 2009. If I didn't, there you go. And then there was, let's see, we have 1944, Molly McIntyre, representing the World War II era, and after a while I kind of started looking like Molly because I had to get glasses, and I'm not too thrilled about that. And the newest one we have is Julie Albright, and she represents the 70s, 1974, in California. So 70s California there. And I do have her book series, as I asked for them for Christmas one year. Well, ignore how old I was when I did that. Yeah. And so, like, I've read online, I'll try to post another link here, down below, that there's going to be another historical character released in this year. Don't know much about it. Things go over here. It just meant, like there's dolldiaries.com, and it mentions that, let's see, something, okay, this is not exactly very reliable, but from what I'm gathering right now from glancing at it, is that someone's friend is an illustrator for an upcoming book series for this, and it's going to be a Western theme. That's all I got. And something about names Denise and Sarah, and that doesn't really fit the Western theme there, but whatever. So in noticing the years ending in 4 pattern, I have made a list of possible years, or years they could cover and still be in the ending in 4 thing. These are the years they have not covered. Do I have time to go over what I've written down here? Okay, I made a list of the years they have not covered, and I used Wikipedia to get a general idea of what events happened around those years. Okay, we have 1784, and the state of Franklin secedes from North Carolina, and in 1785, Congress refused to admit Franklin to the Union. So I think it'd be interesting to see a book on a extinct state. Which, I mean, Franklin is now just a part of Tennessee, but it would be interesting. 1794, the Whiskey Rebellion. I don't think that'd make a good kids book. 1804, the 12th Amendment ratified, which is basically the procedure for electing a president and a vice president, and New Jersey abolishes slavery. I don't know what to do with that. 1814, Treaty of Ghent settles the War of 1812, and then the Battle of New Orleans was in 1815. That'd make it okay. Do something with that. You know, the War of 1812 book. 1834, Texas War for Independence begins in 1835, so you'd have the around there. Already at 10. 1844, in 1845, Texas and Florida both become states. I'm just throwing these general things out here. 1874, Red River Indian War. You have another Native American book with the Native American as a main character. 1884 is when you have the whole Buffalo Bill, Wild West show, that whole thing. In 1894, there were Coxey's Army, which was a protest march by unemployed workers in the second year of a 4-year depression. Okay, Dell Support Center, go away. And then there was also another, another strikes in another state, so there's that thing there. 1924, yeah, the Flappers, and then Nellie Taylor Ross was the first female governor of the U.S. state, Wyoming. And then 1954, we have Brown versus the Board of Education, which desegregated schools. That would be a good one. In 1924, there was the Scopes trial of 1925, which found that the teachings of evolution in a classroom do not violate the church and state or state religion laws and blah blah blah. So, and then 1964, the Civil Rights Act, the Beatles, was put right after JFK, all that. And then there's also 1984, 1994, and 2004 be way too recent. I still think 1984 will be just a little too soon for 1984 series, but yeah. But I kind of would like an 84 series, but I think I more prefer a 94 series, seeing as how I was a year old in 1984. So that one, I can vaguely relate to that, but yeah. Yeah. And just some general ideas there. I'm kind of being vague here. I just did a really quick Google search. I got the math in my head. And in 1994, I would have been 11 years old. So yeah. So there you go. And I'm almost at 15 minutes, so I'm gonna go. Bye.